All right. Well, as we come to the conclusion of the mastermind, I always save the best for last. And, I brought this gentleman over here for a reason, right? Because let me just back up. I found this man. I'm always searching on YouTube. I found him on YouTube and I started listening to him, and he spoke to my soul. And he made me think about things that I already think about, but he spoke them, right? And it's a lot of common sense stuff that I think we overlook as entrepreneurs. And he knows this. I think he's a modern day Stoic, right? And if anybody in here not know what Stoicism is, nobody knows what that is. We'll get into it. But we're all trying to build wealth here. We're all trying to make money. We're all trying to do better for our family. But man, I think we don't realize how short life is. We're going to be dead in about 40, 50, some of us 20, maybe 30, who knows? And we got to really stay grounded about what's important in life. It's great to make money, but you ain't taking none of it with you. None of it. So I wanted to bring up Dwayne, Mr. Dwayne Noel from Wyoming, and we're going to have I wish it was a fireside chat. I wish we could smoke cigars. That would be cool. But we're going to have a conversation about life, and I wanted this man to speak to you guys. So give it up for Mr. Dwayne Noel. Thank you, Dwayne.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you being here.
You bet.
So Dwayne, before we get into any type of just content or anything, let's get a background of who you are, kind of where you came from and where you are today, so we have an idea.
Okay. Well, I was born in Kentucky, actually, 7th generation, in the hills, poor farmers, and spent a lot of years doing everything. My wife, Deanna, most of you have met her. We had 7 children, which are all grown and gone now. And so I spent a lot of years working in construction. I was working on ranches and working on wrangling and packing in the mountains and just a lot of different stuff. Spent a lot of years in Alaska. Deanna was raised in Alaska. Just scratching like a dog to make a living. When Deanna and I got married, we talked before we got married. It's like I said, if you want to work a job, you can. What kind of life do you want? She said, I want 12 babies and I want to stay home. And I said, then that's what we'll do. And I'll work. You keep popping them out and I'll keep feeding them. And that's. She got to 7. She's like, hey, my body can't do anymore. I said, that's fine. My wallet can't neither. So for several years off and on and in and out, teaching and doing different things. And we got to a point, I was always a really scratchy fella. I was wired really tight. And always the life we lived, there was a lot of pressure. And it got to the point where I'm like, I'm done. I don't know if any of y'all saw the podcast we just did with Chris Williamson, but I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't. I don't like me. My wife don't like me. My kids don't like me. My dog don't like me. Nobody likes me. I'm not living for the next 50 years like I have for the last 50 years. And we were laying in bed one night. I think I'm having a heart attack. Good. I'm tired of fighting. I don't want to do this anymore. And I went to sleep, woke up next morning, I was still alive. I'm like, well, dang it. So I got to do something. And so started making changes, started changing me, started going through the things in my life that were making me who I was that I didn't like and getting rid of them. And it's been a process. But then I started a little YouTube channel. I told Deanna, I said, if we get in 3 years, if we have 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers, it's a success. I don't care. I would just put in some horse training stuff on saddles for young people who are wanting to get into the cowboying life. And the silly thing blew up. I mean, it just blew up. And my best friend asked me one day, so you're monetizing this, right? I don't know what that is. And he said, man, so he helped me get set up, and then we're at 1.35 million subscribers now.
Wow.
We started a school We did it for 3 years where people would come in for a week at a time and I would teach horsemanship. But this side of things, just so many young men would contact me and say, hey, I've got these questions, I got these problems. And then I would just answer them the way, like, you know, as I was a kid, what I would have been told, which is just common sense. And it's just continued to explode and continue to grow. And then it just keeps branching out. Now I'm here.
So you mean to tell me you didn't plan to be an influencer?
I didn't. I still haven't. I still don't know how to twerk. Yeah.
Yeah. So I watched that podcast with you and Chris, phenomenal podcast. All you guys should watch it. Chris, what was his last name? Williamson. Let's get into, some of the, it's called truisms of life and the reality of being an entrepreneur, building wealth, and the stress of us. And we were talking about this outside, guys. How many of you guys have experienced stress as an entrepreneur? Raise your hand. Yeah. This ain't normal what we put ourselves through. Like, we're a small percentage of the population. And I think sometimes we have to catch ourselves asking ourselves, why? I mean, I've told Mama Rood, why am I doing this? For what? Is it really worth it?
Well, I came in and listened to Robert the last little bit. It's Robert, right? And I'm like, I stood there and my blood pressure went up 40 points. I'm like, I need 2 lisinopril, a hydrochlorothiazide, and 2 bourbon right now. Just we are as completely opposite as 2 guys can get.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing. The thing is, one of my main messages is balance.